Yo, 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 welcome back to the Out the Box Show. I'm John Wallace alongside my co-host, just one co-host this week, James Luffy. We messed up. We messed up big time. Normally we'd like to put out episodes on Wednesday, but Luffy has a little theory on why the episode did not get put out today. We're recording this today, Wednesday. Luffy, do you want to kind of give a little bit more background to that?
Yeah, sure. Rory in our House Always Wins segment yesterday, he picked the Cleveland Browns. Turns out today that would have been a terrible pick. Rory's deleted the audio, and we are back for a second night in a row recording.
Yeah, for whatever reason, we've been doing this podcast almost. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be 2 years at the start of baseball season, Luffy. How crazy is that, by the way?
That is crazy.
But we've been doing this for almost 2 years, and for whatever reason, we recorded a whole episode, and the mics weren't on, they weren't hooked up or whatnot. So last night, we even said it before too. We were like, that was one of our better episodes that we did, and Rory deleted the audio. So me and Luffy are here. We're gonna kind of recap kind of some of the stuff that we talked about last night and this past week. It's going to be last night. There was a little bit of fluff, so we're going to get straight to the point, and the show goes on. So before we get to all that, I want to give a huge shout out to the Boot Crew Media Network. The Pelicans start tonight. Pels start tonight. There is a ton of podcasts and articles breaking down the New Orleans Pelicans on bootcrewmedia.com. Elliot Clue, I don't know how you say it. He's the host of the Pelicans Plus podcast. Lots of good content on there. He goes live all the time after games and whatnot. Make sure to check that out. Also, make sure to follow Boot Crew Media on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at boot_crew_media. And our weekly recaps of LSU football are brought to you by the best to ever do it, the boat, the Blaine of all time, the best of all time, Blaine Loop with Keller Williams Realty. Blaine wants you to know that interest rates are at an all-time low and the real estate market has never been hotter. He wants you to know that the speeds these homes are selling right now, you're going to need a certified professional. You're going to need a friend, a neighbor, and an agent. So you might as well just call Blaine. Make sure to call or text Blaine at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. And shout out to an Out of the Box listener. He told me the other day that he needed some tenants to fill his rental investment property that he owns, and Blaine found him tenants within the day. So even if you need help renting a place that you don't even live in, right? Blaine can help you find tenants. He can also help you buy the home of your dreams, sell the home of your dreams, buy the new home of your dreams, or help you to rent. All right. So I think the horse has been beaten on what happened, but in a nutshell, Scott Woodward, despite LSU in the fantastic game against Florida, had already made the decision to let Coach O go. Coach O will no longer be the coach following this season. We still think there's some stuff to play for and whatnot. And I think that was kind of evidenced by LSU, the way they came out on Saturday against Florida.
Yeah, ultimately the right move, and it sucks for Coach O. It's like you wanted him to be like so good. He's so Louisiana, and it was time. Woodward was so good in his press conference and kind of talking about separating like emotions and business. And I think fans kind of knew towards the end of last week, you started to hear rumblings about them kind of coming to an agreement. Ultimately, I think it was the right choice to let him coach out the end of the year. And you could see the relief on O's face, I think, during the game Saturday. And the team and the coordinators, I'm sure, kind of coached with less pressure and will be coaching with less pressure going forward, even though they're pretty much in job interviews right now because some of the coaches may not be coming back. Not all of them, definitely. And it sucks to see Coach O go. He did do a lot of things well. He was just a fun, energetic coach, and brought players back into the program, and old players wanted to come back and watch practice and all that. He was, we've had to go to recruiting classes under him. I mean, his ultimate downfall was not being able to win on the field. A lot has been written about other things, and some of it not true, some of it may be true, but ultimately he wasn't winning enough and on a consistent basis to stay as LSU's head coach. And the new coaching process starts now. I mean, I think Woodward's got his committee ready to go, and they're full force going at it. And hopefully they'll have a coach hired as soon as the college football playoff ends.
Yeah, and like Scott Woodward said in the press conference, he did lie to the whole LSU fan base. He lied to anybody that was watching the press conference in saying that the coaching search is starting right now. Right, the search for the new coach is starting right now. He's been thinking about who the next coach is going to be. He is getting his chess pieces in line. He is going to shoot for the next star at LSU. His goal in his mind is to find the next Nick Saban, the next greatest coach in college football, and he is going to swing for the fences. He is going to go for whoever he wants, and he's going to step up to the plate.
Yeah, and to just talk about something, we talked about a lot of names last week, mostly everyone. A guy we didn't talk about, one, I think it's Dabo Swinney. I think that Woodward's going to go. Like, he's going to swing for the fences like John said. I'm sure that – I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm sure that contact will be made with him and his agent and the Michigan State head coach as well. Blanking on his name.
Oh, you put me on the spot too.
I know. I've been saying it.
Mel Tucker.
Mel Tucker, yes. And I think he'll he's definitely in the running, it seems like. But any other guys that we missed? I think we pretty much covered everybody, because we covered Napier, we covered Lincoln, who I think is I would think that's also going to be one of his first calls. And I think the deal, if it's one of these guys like Lincoln or Dabo from a big school already on a big contract, it's going to be a massive number, $100 million possibly. And it's going to be eye-opening, and it's going to look huge, I think, on paper.
Yeah, I mean, and LSU, why not LSU to do that? I mean, the facilities, it is, and Chris Calderera, shout out Chris Calderera, he wrote a fantastic article. I forget the media member's name, but he basically went on record and said that he questioned whether LSU was an attractive destination for a coach to come coach football. And Chris ripped him a new one in his article on bootcrewmedia.com. He kind of commented on the Coach O firing and let go. But the whole thing was, it's like, how could you sit here and say that with the recruits, the talent in the state of Louisiana, the facilities at LSU, the fan base especially, right? We saw that on Saturday. And Tiger Stadium in general, how could you sit here and question at all that Tiger Stadium isn't an attractive place to come coach? So I do think that'll be evidenced in Scott Woodward swinging for the fences, going for his guy, and getting the best. Now, there is a guy at work. Shout out. I'm not gonna say his name. I don't want to give him credit if by some chance he's right. He is convinced that Nick Saban is going to be the next coach at LSU. He thinks that Nick Saban has something. He has nothing left to prove at Bama. Like, if he just keeps running up the score in national championships, yeah, like he could do that. But what if he came to where he got his big break and came back to LSU? It's definitely an interesting theory. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. I think Nick Saban's too old. I think this hire is what Scott Woodward wants to further this program. He wants to get a guy that's going to be here. And I think we kind of mentioned that last night, Lovey. He wants a guy that's going to be here for the next 10 years. And that is why the number on paper is going to look so large. Yeah.
And it's some people, this is also interesting. Some people think that like it isn't all Scott Woodward's decision as far as like radio and media people. And some people think it is fully his decision. We have a new president at LSU, and I just think it's going to be Scott Woodward's decision. This is like pretty much the hire that he's been looking forward to his entire life, because he's wanted to be the AD at LSU. And also, I mean, there's a committee that goes along with it.
And their input will be,
and their input
heard.
Will,
and,
yes.
and the new president of the university, like, it's no secret what he wants to see, right? He wants to see he wants this hire to be a legacy hire. He wants whoever the guy is, whether it's a coach of color or it doesn't matter. He wants it to be a staple hire.
Yeah, and the school and the football program are so closely related, which some people might not think is true. But as far as like out of state people applying to LSU, I think it was just a massive jump after 2019's year, and it's important for both the president and Scott Woodward, and it's going to be an interesting next couple of months. I think there'll be a lot of speculation without anybody knowing.
It's going to be very interesting.
Yes.
I think you're right about that. Woodward is a silent assassin. He doesn't care what LSU fan 3978 on Tiger Droppings thinks.
And everybody on the radio, it is their job to do, and they have to have something to talk about. So I don't blame them at all. But they're going to cover every single name on that list and make sure they can go back whenever it happens and say, "Look, I told you. I told you then."
Yeah.
So don't get overexcited about what someone says early on, I would say. But, there's a lot of interesting names out there, and one we're playing next week. So, or this week.
That's who I want. I want the Lane train, and we'll get to kind of an Ole Miss, I guess, preview. But I guess to kind of just talk about Coach O for a little bit, I think a lot of people have questioned why. Some people on both sides, right? Some people have said that, oh, why would they fire him now and not just let him coach out the end of the season and then fire him? So if you're in that camp, my response to that would be, it provides clarity to everyone. It provides clarity to your players. It provides clarity to Coach O, the coaches. Like you said, they're interviews for next year. These players, now that they can play loose and they don't have this pressure of keeping a guy around, they know what the deal is. They can go out there and play loose and free, and the pressure is not there, right?
Yeah, and there's more negative recruiting and transfer, like other coaches talking to our players and talking to our recruits that are currently committed if we look like a mess. But it seems like there's a plan in place now, which is such an important thing, just from perspective of other people looking at LSU and the players in that locker room. They know there's a plan now. It's been addressed, and it was the right move to make it at this time, even though it does seem strange.
Yeah, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Say what you want about Coach O, right? The off the field stuff. Granted, me and you both pretty much agree, Luffy, that a lot of these stories that are coming out about him are probably embellished a little bit, right?
Yeah, the kids at practice thing, bullshit. We had Rory here yesterday. He was not happy about that. He talked about that at length, and he just was saying how ridiculous of an idea that is. They may have been running around after practice, but still, he couldn't even see that being a thing. And then some of the other stuff, the thing with Jacoby Stevens and all that happened last year. And Jacoby Stevens came out and said, "Look, this isn't about me. This is not why this is happening. I love Coach O. He's a good man." And the off the field stuff may have, and some of the things he's done may have sped up the process, but the sissy blue shirts thing,
everyone
that doesn't love that. No one gives a shit. No one cares about that.
Right.
If you win the game, no one even cares about that. It's a funny thing that people are replaying, laughing at if we win the game. So that stuff, no, it's not. And it's on the field, direction that the team was headed, and just not seeming prepared week to week, that ultimately a couple bad coordinator hires that have, led O to get relieved of his duties at the end of this year.
Yeah, and like we said, it's you can say what you want, you can comment on the things that he's done, right? But one thing he said that struck me, a reporter asked him during the press conference. They said, "What are you going to tell the recruits going forward for the rest of the year? Because you are still the coach, you are still in place." And one thing you can't say about him is that he doesn't love the state of Louisiana and LSU. That was his dream job. He said that so many times. He said he's never going to blink. He's not going to have a bad day at LSU. And you have to take him at his word for that, right? I fully believe that he, in conversations with recruits, and we've said this also before, a lot of these recruits are not committed to Coach O, right? You that was a point that you made that I very much agree with. They're committed to the brand of LSU. They want to come play for LSU, not necessarily Coach O. And I fully believe that he is not a type of guy to say, no, don't come to LSU and be salty about it. Right?
Hey, and the $17 million definitely helps. They fired him without any calls for a reason. They could have fired him with calls if they wanted to. That just turns into a mess as far as lawsuit and other different things that you don't want to, avenues you don't want to go down as like a national brand and as a national program. It seems like a peaceful separation for the most part. And that's part of the reason that Coach O will continue to like support LSU and coach and recruit throughout the rest of the year.
And a lot of coaches, like we said, like when Les Miles got fired, Rory talked about it last night. There was a team meeting, and the team meeting was maybe 10, 15 minutes. Les Miles basically said his piece, and that was it. Like a lot of the times when a coach gets fired, you don't ever hear from him after that, right? Mm-hmm. Until afterward and whatnot. I feel like it was the classy way to do it. Scott Woodward letting him coach the season out. He is back where he started at LSU. Not where he started, but where he started under his head coaching duties. He is an interim again, which is crazy given the last 5-6 years of him being the head coach.
Do you think it'll be emotional like after the last game against Texas A&M at home?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think if we win too, and when they're singing after the game, because I went back and watched the video someone tweeted out. Should be giving them credit. Sorry, but they tweeted out a video. And it was Coach O singing with the team after the game. He already knew at this point they had something worked out and a deal signed, that it was over with. And like you could almost see him, like it looks like in his eyes, which it is hard to tell with him sometimes, but like it looked like he was about to get a little emotional, knowing like this is maybe one of the last times he gets to sing in front of a big game, a full student section, after a win in Tiger Stadium as the head coach of LSU. Which has got to be like just an insane feeling, and something that like probably the number one like feeling for like him and someone that had the goals that he had. And so I think it'll be an emotional end for Coach O.
And you can also say what you want about who was responsible for the 2019 national championship, but at the end of the day, I don't really care what you say. His name, whenever you look up on Wikipedia, 2019 national champions, head coach Ed Ogeron. He was the guy. He was the head coach, regardless of who you think was pulling the strings, whether Joe Brady is responsible, whether Joe Burrow is responsible, Jamar Chase. You can go down the list, but he did what he did, and now it's over with.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about the Florida game. Beautiful game in Tiger Stadium. The weather was absolutely perfect. I actually had tickets, and I'm deeply regretful that I didn't take up on that opportunity to go to Tiger Stadium. There was a flyover, and LSU basically punched out LSU's sweep of Dan Mullen and Florida during his time as head coach.
Yeah, we own Florida, and we now own Dan Mullen. He's on the hot seat now because they lost that game. So we fired our coach, and now Dan Mullen is on the hot seat. Great game. The offensive line, shout out them. They've been getting a lot of shit this year. We just were able to run the counter over and over and over down Florida's throat. Ty Davis-Price sets the school record rushing yards. Awesome, especially, he's kind of come under some heat this year. Not really his fault or rightful, but he, that's pretty cool to set the single game rushing record. And the offense, started off good, had some momentum. The penalties killed us. Florida had 0 penalties in that game. LSU had about 300 yards of penalties called back. We obviously didn't put the game away at times. Like we had a couple lapses and just concentration, the Hail Mary being one, and then which kind of killed our momentum at the end of the half, or just a feeling you had. And then the blocked punt as well. But defense stepped up. A lot of players on defense. Damone Clark, big pick at the end. Cordell Flott tipping that ball up. McLaughlin, pick six. Those young guys were out there playing hard. B.J. Ojolari had a hell of a game. Shout out Jack Mashburn. He basically was in there playing fullback as tight end, having to run straight into a linebacker's face on every single play. I mean, how many times did we run that play? Like that is a shame. Like that is a praiseless job, and he is getting a lot of praise this week, but he was a difference maker there, a walk-on tight end. And the Max didn't throw it great, but windy day, hard to throw it in that type of wind. And there was, a couple of drops from the receivers. Brian Thomas had a huge game that was called back by penalties. The defense on 3rd and 4th down is really when they struggled the most. If we get a got off the field a couple 3rd and longs in the 4th downs towards the end of that game, it wouldn't have been as close. But they ultimately came up with the plays when they had to, and it was an awesome game. It's so fun to beat Florida. That's just a game you really want to win.
Yeah, and if I'm players for LSU, knowing that I'm going to come back next year, there'd be 2 things on my mind. It would be, like you said, audition for next year, earn your spot, get on tape, and try to figure some things out. So when next year comes around, you're ready to roll. And the other thing would be, let's see how many team seasons we can mess up. Let's be the underdogs, and let's ruin Alabama's season. Yeah. I'm not saying we're going to do that. I'm saying that would be my mindset.
And listen, John, who we're playing, we're talking about the Ole Miss game in a second, but they have a chance to go to the playoff. Yes. Like, this is a potential. You want to talk about season ruining? This is a season ruining game. Like, it's possible to beat them. Like,
how awkward would that be if we went in there, beat them, and then Lane Kiffin ended up being the coach at LSU, and then he hired Ed Orgeron as an assistant.
It is
and
funny
then
to think about.
Lane Kiffin gets fired, Coach O steps into the interim role, and then we're back right where we started.
Just a ridiculous scenario.
We're in Inception.
Ridiculous scenario.
All right, let's get to Ole Miss. But before we get to Ole Miss, let's talk about Workbox.
Yeah, Workbox LLC. They are Louisiana's leader in construction, industrial, and residential services. If you need a storage container, portable office, portable restroom rentals, roll-off dumpsters, call Martine at Workbox. Martine's always working, and no one tell him I said this. Hopefully he doesn't hear this, but he was actually an Ole Miss Rebel for a short period of time, but he got his mind right. He came home. He is an LSU Tiger at heart. Call Martine at Workbox at 225-343-4886 if you need portable toilets, the luxury ones, the good ones like they'll have up in the Grove this weekend. If you need dumpsters, if you need storage containers, if you're redoing your house, you're renovating your house, you're buying a new house and need any of that stuff, call Workbox LLC. They're the best in the business. They're always working over there. Call Martine at Workbox at 225-343-4886.
All right, LSU heading up to Oxford to face the Lane Train. One thing I've noticed just in Coach O's press conferences this week, just preparing, he's like basically laughing it off at Lane Kiffin, suggesting that the whole team's injured and that they're not going to play and Corral is not going to get the start. He's going to get the start. There's too much at stake. Lane Kiffin knows the talent that LSU has coming into Oxford, and there's no way. Like, even Coach O said it. He said Lane's just throwing smoke screens at me, right? But I think if LSU plays the way that they did on Saturday, free, loose, setting single game rushing records, we could beat this team.
Yeah, there's 2 different ways to look at it. Ole Miss's momentum is they've come off a big win at Tennessee. They could be coming back a little tired, a little beat up. Corral ran 30 times last week, which is a ton for a quarterback. Took some shots. That's probably why he's been limited or will be limited in practice some this week. But it's also a massive game for them, for their season. It's a 2:30 CBS game in Oxford. The weather's going to be good. The stadium's going to be packed. And they really want to beat LSU. They haven't beat us in 6 years. They really want to win this game. Kiffin wants to beat O. And I think the way for us to beat them is you've got to hit Corral when he's on the run, make him not want to run, because if he starts running and throwing, it's going to be a rout. And I think for the offense, they're going to have to continue to hold the ball and pace the game out to where the defense gets a breather. Ole Miss can't score, and we go 3 and out and give them the ball right back. It'll just be, the defense had some good plays during the last game, but they're going to have to come up with some new concepts this week for Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, because that offense is really good. Corral is a really, really good quarterback. And if the defense is kind of vanilla as it's been all year, I think that they'll tear us apart, and I don't really know how we'll stop them, but I think Damone Clark's a huge factor in this game, because he's going to have to keep an eye on Corral and stop whatever they have coming, because it's just a tough job. It's not an easy job that he'll have this week, trying to be in pass coverage and watch him. And I don't know. It's going to be tough for us to win this game. I see it being high scoring, but I don't know if our offense will be able to keep up with theirs. Any thoughts on the game, John?
I like the point you made about controlling the line of scrimmage, right? If we're going to beat this team, we're going to have long, sustained drives. We're going to have to run the ball like we did on this past Saturday against Florida. And I think the more time that the ball is not in Matt Corral's hands, the better. Obviously, yeah. Let's eat up a 7-minute drive. Let's run the ball. Let's throw a few screens. Let's throw some intermediate passes and whatnot, and let's just march down the field.
Yeah, and I watched the game versus Florida, and their DBs did not want to tackle Ty Davis-Price coming downhill, and I watched Alabama play Ole Miss, and they did not want to tackle the Alabama running backs. The Ole Miss secondary did. So if you're able to block and do what they did to the Florida defensive line and linebackers this week, they're going to have a real shot at winning this game. We can't turn the ball over. That's one thing. No fumbles, no interceptions. Max has done a good job of that for the most part of it, taking care of the ball, making the right read, making the athletic play, and putting the offense in a good position. I think he's come under maybe more heat than he deserves this year.
I don't think you should. I mean, but
it's weird. I hear it every week. I feel like
no, I agree. But in my opinion, the only real questionable thing he did was in the first game when he threw the no-look Mahomes pass.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
he's missed some,
and that's a young quarterback. Right?
He's not the most accurate pocket passer in the world. And he did miss some throws against Florida that I'm sure he'd love to have back. But like I said, that wind is not easy to throw against, and I think he's got to not underthrow the deep ball and that lead to a pick, but. Other than that, like he's doing enough for us to win these games, and I think you'll see him. I would like to see him run some this week, even more.
Yes,
I've been saying that all year, but like that's going to be another thing with just controlling the pace of this game.
That adds another element to your offense. It adds another knife on the Swiss Army knife.
And I'd like to see some corner blitzes or some exotic blitzes on 3rd and 4th down this week, because it seems like the front wasn't getting pressure, and they did it. BJ Ojolari did a hell of a job all game. But if Corral's able to sit back there, he's obviously going to pick you apart, and got to get off the field on those long 3rd downs.
Yeah. So the spread for this weekend's matchup, Mississippi State favored by 9, and the over under 76.
Ole Miss is favored by.
Did I say Mississippi State?
Yeah.
Wow. It says Mississippi on the thing.
Yeah,
that's why.
It always says like Mississippi.
It's Ole Miss.
Yeah,
I know we're playing Ole Miss. We want their coach.
That's like when they have Louisiana or Lafayette. ULL.
I've trained my brain for that. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. That's like the two things. It's like you always see Louisiana and then Mississippi. It's like no, it's Ole Miss and ULL.
Right. So LSU, I think Rory last night, he's taking LSU to cover at +9. I'm not sure if I see that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see us winning this game. I hope we do win. I think there's a chance we can win. It's just we need to play another really good game. A lot of guys out. A lot of guys still out off this. A lot of guys out for the year. A lot of guys not playing this week.
And the over-under 76, I don't take unders, but I could easily see it being under 76 if they come in and shut down our running game and whatnot, like most teams have been able to do this year. And I imagine they'll put up around, 35, 38 points, and we'll maybe put up 17 or so. Yeah. I hate to be negative, which I'm not normally known to do, but that's what I see. Or we could come out and play loose and win this one for Coach O.
Yeah. I would love to win. That'd be awesome.
All right. Let's get to the famous segment in the show, the House Always Wins segment. Don't let me forget that we are going to make sure Rory's pick gets locked in.
I got you, John.
The House Always Wins segment is presented by the House Bar in Tigerland. Shout out to Jeff over there. Jeff and Casey, the owners. They're our boys. We're going to be recording at the bar again soon. Maybe do a live inbox or something crazy, something to get the juices going, get out to Tigerland. I was actually there on Saturday, and Rory, DJ Road Dogg, was DJing, and the dance floor was on fire. Absolutely incredible. The bar was packed. They had all kind of deals going on. It was just a fun game day experience. Make sure to follow the House Bar in Tigerland on Facebook and Instagram at House in Tigerland, and on Twitter at Tigerland House. All right, Rory's pick for this week.
The Cleveland Browns. If you're watching on YouTube, John is fired up for the Browns. He's got his orange shirt on. I think the game was at -3 when Rory picked it, so he's gonna have to. That number will have to be consistent with what he picked last night.
Right. I don't see them being favored after the announcement today. Let's get a quick check on that. Luffy, what's your pick this week?
Okay, so I have a teaser with the Patriots.
Only -2. Wow. Browns are still favored -2, but I mean they are playing the Broncos at home, so could potential not much juice on the money line for the Broncos, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so I'm taking a teaser. It's going to be Pats. They're playing the Jets. They're at home. They have to win this game their season to continue. Mac Jones looked better last week. I expect him to win that game. That's -0.5. It's a 6.5 point teaser. And then I am taking the Colts on Sunday Night Football. They will be +10 with the 6.5 points. It's 3.5 now. I think the Colts are just a better team than people think right now. Wentz is maybe starting to get healthy, and they're playing a team in the Niners that has struggled offensively the last couple of weeks, and obviously because Kittle's out and Jimmy G's out, and they have a rookie quarterback. So give me that. Patriots -0.5, Colts +10.
All righty. I'm going with the Monday Night Football game. Saints are back, baby. Who dat against Seattle at Seattle. Kind of scary, but not really. Geno Smith has been playing okay, but I think the Saints coming off a bye week are going to play well. I did forget to give a pick last week. I think I was just so caught up in all the Coach O LSU news that it just slipped my mind. But I am going to go the Saints. I like them to win. I like them to cover the spread -4.5, -110. So that's take a flyer on that one. But I'm going to go that their team total over 23.5 points -125. I think the Saints on Monday Night Football coming off a bye. I think it might be kind of a slow first half, but I think the Saints are going to end up scoring 3 touchdowns at least and kicking some field goals and whatnot, especially with Russell Wilson being out. So I think that'll do it for the House Always Wins segment and our show. Thank you guys so much for listening. We say it every single week. We're on episode 82. Episode 82. We've been doing this almost 2 years now. It'll be 2 years in February. We could not be more stoked to keep it going. We appreciate all of the tweets, the likes, I swear it makes my day when people like text me certain stuff that we talked about on the show. Like, hey, heard you say this. This is what I saw. This is what I think, whatever. Like the interaction is.
You're an idiot. That pick sucks.
I would even like that more because it'll give me kind of a chance to, we'll have a heated debate about it. But we really do mean it when we say like, we love all of our fans, and we got some more power moves coming up. We're not going anywhere with the power moves. Be on the lookout. Shout out to Boot Crew Media. Huge deal with DraftKings. They are the official sports betting partner of Boot Crew Media. DraftKings, be on the lookout. We're going to have our own promo code on shows coming up soon. Maybe go live, maybe tweet out some picks and whatnot. Be on the lookout for that. Also, shout out to our other sponsors, the House Bar in Tigerland, Blaine Loop with Keller Williams Realty. And I did this last night, and I forgot to do it tonight too. Keller Williams is an equal opportunity housing partner. Each office is independently owned and operated. And also shout out to Workbox LLC. And last night when we were recording, I texted Lala, the girl over at Boot Crew Media, who puts together the thumbnails for all of our videos and whatnot, and is the picture of Coach O eating the slaw at Canes. I think Canes is going to be phasing that out, but the episode title this week is Ode To O. So I thought it was kind of clever by me. We really, at the end of the day, we talked about Coach O. We were kind of critical at some points throughout the season, but I think overall he was a positive coach for LSU. He was a great rah-rah guy and whatnot, and wish him well.
I agree.
Tigers.
Go Tigers. Are we going to talk about we forgot to talk about what we talked about last night, but
What?
the coaches that might stay.
Yeah, bonus segment. Bonus segment in the. If you're still listening, don't tell your friend. Actually, tell your friends that, hey, did you hear the bonus section on the Out the Box podcast? We might start doing bonus content like after the outro song, or maybe before the intro,
before the outro song.
Yeah. So that way you'll really tweet us if you are a true listener of the Out the Box show, that you stuck around till the very end. So
coaches that people are saying are going to come back. Hopefully we retain Corey Raymond. Obviously, we want him back. Austin Thomas, who is like a GM type recruiter. Who else? My throat's
Tommy Moffitt.
My throat's not feeling good.
I've heard something like Tommy Moffitt needs to stay as the strength and conditioning coach.
Tommy Moffitt will probably stay. I hope we retain Brad Davis. You've seen the offensive lineman make improvements, and I think he's a good up and coming coach. Mason Smith, not the player, the coach, the recruiter, will probably be staying on staff.
One with 1A in
not
his name.
double A. And I think I really hope we can retain Brad Davis, though. I think that's somebody that people aren't talking about. Mickey Joseph would also be good to keep around. He's the New Orleans recruiter that's been there for a long time and is a reason some of the players that we have committed right now are committed. Another thing we talked about yesterday, we haven't talked about today, is Walker Howard. You mentioned that he went on a visit to Notre Dame. He went to a Catholic high school. I'm assuming he's
not
Catholic
high,
not Catholic high, but he went to a Catholic high school. Yes. Catholic high school in STM, right?
Right.
And he's got. I mean, I would want to go on official visits too if I was him. We said this, like he's a kid. Like, why would you not want to go to Notre Dame and see it and check it out? It seems like
cool
and
you're just kind of talking about how, like with the O News, how he is still a recruit and he's fully committed to LSU. But he is going on an official visit.
And if you're a quarterback, I think you'd be pretty excited about Lane Kiffin or Lincoln Riley.
Sure.
They seem to have a decent record with quarterbacks.
So the next, I don't know, probably they're probably not going to make an official hire until after the season, because all these coaches right now, whenever they get asked about the LSU job, they're like, I'm committed to my school and whatnot, even though they're lying through their teeth.
They plan on being there.
Right.
They plan.
Right. Yeah. They choose their words very carefully. But any more bonus content?
Oh, yeah. Slinger did not get enough respect. I think over the last 2 years, people on national TV all the time, well, Joe Brady was the offense coordinator in 2019. They were co-offensive coordinators, and not even really that at first. And then the offense last year wasn't even the problem with the team. He got like too many people discrediting him. Like, the offense was really good until Miles got hurt. It struggled with TJ, right? New quarterback, freshman quarterback, middle of the year, and then it picks back up with Max at the end of the year. He did a hell of a job keeping everything kind of together last year. I couldn't imagine if we didn't have him. Like, if he would have retired and we had another like new OC going on, it could have been worse than it even was last year. So shout out Slinger.
Shout out Slinger. Go Tigers.